Hello, this is Sean Burrows, and today I have a really exciting client case study to share with you. We're talking a combination of search engine optimization, social media, and public relations all mashed up into one big full front-end assault. Even though everyone's used to it now, the internet is still the Wild West, and there's still so much evolving every single month, it seems. It's impossible for business owners, let alone agencies, to keep up with everything. Click-through rates on almost every single platform are continuing to plummet and go down. Business owners come to me all the time and say, we really need to get 10,000 likes on our Facebook page, or please help us get onto page 1 of Google. If they're not orchestrated with other efforts in a systematic way, with knowing where to take your audience from where they're at to buying on your website, then it can be really chaotic. And if you approach online marketing in a chaotic way, you're missing the whole point. The only thing that makes online marketing worth anything is that you can measure everything. If you don't know where people are coming from and you don't know what they're doing when they get to your website, how do you know what's working? You're just throwing money into the fire. But where the rubber really meets the road is when you put it all together in a combination of strategies that work to support one another, and then you get what we call synergy. Synergy is a buzzword we hear all the time in business, but what it really means is when the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. It's not just SEO and advertising and a social media campaign. It's not 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. It's the combination that's put together strategically, so 1 + 1 + 1 = 9 or 11. Yeah, let's go with 11. So I thought I'd show you an example of what this actually does. About 6 months ago, my agency started working with a client that has a brand new device. The problem is they're going up against competitors that are already in big box stores and already have kind of an established brand presence. The good thing they have going on though is it's a fairly new space that they're working in. Within about a month and a half, we have them on page 1 for the major search phrases they're going after. We took a look at what their competition was doing and we knew exactly what we needed to do. We went to work with an aggressive social campaign, building up their Facebook and Twitter and Instagram following, produced a whole bunch of YouTube videos, and we did old-fashioned press outreach. That means we actually picked up the telephone and we called people and we got them covered by magazines, blogs in their space. We even ran some radio ads. Within less than 6 months, we created a nice trail or a nice digital footprint online showing everybody that they were a legitimate company. See, being on top of page 1 isn't enough. Once you're on the top of page 1, people are going to maybe click through to your website, and depending on what you're selling, they may call you right away, especially if you're like a plumber or an urgent care clinic where people need immediate help. But for a lot of brands, being on page 1 is just a credibility indicator. It gets you noticed when people find you when they're looking for you. But people don't buy right away anymore. They're going to look and see what other people are saying about you. They're going to check out your social profile. They're going to check out your reviews. They're going to see if you're in the news at all. They're going to see if there are any YouTube videos about you. People are smart. It's not 1997 anymore where people will just whip out their credit cards because you're at the top of Lycos. The search engines used to be the only way to drive or attract serious traffic online. Those days are long over. Welcome to the 21st century. However, it's equally as sketchy if you're running a bunch of ads and you don't have a social presence and you're not on page 1 or you're not in the news. It's the combination that makes that winning recipe really work. And with that winning recipe, you're just one piece of really good content away from having really good home runs. But in the meantime, you're going to get base hits, and that's what you really want to be after. You want consistent growth in your traffic, sales, and whatever conversions you're going after. So check this out.
Okay, so this is the Google Analytics overview of their traffic to their website in the first 2 weeks of April of 2015. So they're getting between 400 and 500 views on normal days. And a funny thing happened is they got picked up by a pure Google search by a reporter at a major national media outlet that's covering a major story. I wound up calling my client to discuss particulars about their product and how it is helping solve some problems that a lot of people in the United States are experiencing. This reporter just did a Google search, found my client and interviewed them. And then the story hit on Saturday, April 4th. And then we saw this residual big swell in traffic at the peak, up to 2,500 visits to their website. That's a pretty big jump, considering that their average beforehand was between 400 and 500, but after that, it's kicked up to between 500 and 600. Very interesting to watch. So their average traffic flow before and since has gone up on daily visits. The other thing is they were selling between 3 and 4 units a day here, but let's look at their conversions or how many sales they made afterwards. So take a look at this. They were getting between 1 and 3 sales a day. I guess no one bought on April 1st or 2nd, but look, 3 sales, 3 sales, 3 sales. This was on Easter Sunday. This was the day the story hit. And then Monday, after Easter, they sold 13. This huge spike in sales came right after the story hit, just a couple of days. But what I really want to drive home is people are buying a $300 product online. This is not a small purchase. This isn't a t-shirt. And to go from 3 or 4 sales a day up to 13 because of one news story is huge. So how many news stories do you want to be a part of? The other thing you have to remember is this was something that we built up to. This was an opportunity that my client was able to seize, or really be seized. They were picked up on because of all the work that was put in over the last 5 or 6 months. And it will happen again, and traffic has certainly increased since this a few weeks ago and will continue to do so throughout the selling season. The other thing I want to show you is the source of sales. Look, Google organic search is responsible for 38% of the sales. But direct traffic, that means people know about the brand coming from social media and news coverage, we've got 30%. So it's almost equally as valuable as the traffic they're getting from being found in the search engines. And of course, we've got organic sales coming from Bing, and we're seeing an uptick in traffic from that as well. Bing is doing some pretty cool stuff to compete with Google over the last few months. Just a little hint, you should probably look into that a bit more. This is a part of Google Analytics a lot of business owners overlook or don't even know about. If we look at the 42 sales in this 2-week period, this is what we call time lag, or the number of days it takes for a person to initially be exposed to the website and come back and execute on that sale. So 0 days in time lag, we've got 21 conversions. So exactly 50% or half of the sales, people have either seen a news story or they know what they're looking for, they find it in the search engines and they buy. But the other half, so a good 50%, come back a few days later. And a good chunk of them, a third of them in fact, come back in 2 to 4 weeks to buy. This is a huge indicator across the board that building trust with the audience to make such a big purchase, $300 spent online, especially for a newer product and a newer company, is a big hurdle to overcome for a lot of consumers. So I can't stress enough that just being at the top of page 1 isn't enough these days. So remember, we had to plant a lot of seeds for these guys, and we went at it pretty aggressively, but in a very short period of time, we can see the evidence of everything that we did and what it culminated into. Don't be fooled by the fact that people are looking at the website and coming to it directly from the search engines, and most of their sales are coming from SEO. If they didn't have all of the third-party credibility and the social following and the newspaper trail and the digital footprint that we've created for them, all those sales coming from SEO wouldn't be happening. Look at what happened right after Easter. A news reporter found them in the search engines, they wrote a story about it, and their sales for a couple of days quadrupled from the pace that was normally happening, and then their daily sales are up about 25% from what it was before that news story happened. So we need to do that again and again and again. Where's your business going to be 6 months from now? Hope this helps, and I will see you next time. Whatever you do, don't subscribe to my channel. I don't want it to give me a big head.